prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as. Look at the shields on the Martin.
Oh my god, the drone's gonna
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is HD.
And this is Pain User.
That's right, we are here for game number 3 between Vile State and ESC GoOdy, and this has been an amazing series so far. Once again, this is IPL Season 2, round of 32, and both players are at 1-1 apiece. The final map of the series, the rubber match, is going to be on Crossfire, and this is going to be just an amazing game, I think. Now, the thing here about this map, I just want to point out, is it is a very closed quartered map. I mean, look at these little locations we have here. Tanks for the Panzer General are going to be absolutely prime here. Optimus Prime, indeed. And
I couldn't agree with you anymore.
He's going to run wild on this map, man.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. I mean, there are things that State can do. Colossus also very good on this map.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of angles where you can do all kinds of interesting little shenanigans on this map. There are the back rocks as well that don't really get utilized all that often. You don't really see those come into play. But he's certainly going to have his work cut out for him. This map will yield a much better chance, I feel like, to Mech if he's able to survive past the initial stages of the game. Mech obviously very shaky at defending various types of all-ins, 4-gate all-ins that come super quick, sometimes hard to hold off, but once you do get siege mode up, you do get a bunker at the natural, get a couple Hellions out, you'll be in a great situation. And like you said, tanks can just quarter off the middle of the map. You can easily take your natural and then eventually take a third, or you can just do a really aggressive 2-base timing push. And if you can get to your opponent's high ground near his Zelnaga above the natural and slowly work your way into the natural, it is just so difficult for anyone to deal with.
Yeah.
And you have to have a lot of experience dealing with something like that.
Well, the thing that I've noticed whenever I'm dealing with Terrans on Crossfire is don't let the Terrans siege up here.
Absolutely.
Because once they siege up here, you're in so much trouble.
I mean, it's just a great position. It has a choke, a funnel choke at that with a ramp. It's so close to their natural. It just basically acts as a staging point for any of your attacks from that point forward. Or it can just be one continuous attack from there into their natural and then eventually just clenching the game. So, yeah absolutely.
State's going to want to be really careful about not allowing this Terran monster, this Terran tank monster, so to say, GoOdy, from accessing that high ground. He's already got his probe at the watchtower next to his natural, and GoOdy likewise doing the same. Wouldn't surprise me to see GoOdy throwing up a factory. Indeed, that's what he's doing. And I honestly think he's just going to go straight with the mech. Now, it'll be interesting to see if he opts to open this game with a quick Banshee or not.
Yeah, he might change it up a little bit from the first game. He actually got a couple cloaked Banshees out, but he still hasn't added that second gas. I love the fact that he gets this really early bunker up just to be safe. You never know what your opponent's going to bring your way, and just having that extra bunker makes you so much safer. It will be able to prevent any kind of super aggressive early game shenanigans, trying to bring in a super quick Zealot followed by 2 Stalkers or anything like that. But we do have an immediate Stargate here from State. I don't really like the positioning of it. It could actually be scouted by an SCV if he just runs up the ramp, and GoOdy might just do that. If he gets a scout on it, he's going to be so much better prepared to deal with this Stargate. He should have put it somewhere in the back of his base. It doesn't really matter if the Stargate's that much closer or not, unless it's proxied or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, if you're going to put it here, you might as well,
hide it somewhere out of sight. You don't want it to be near any possible scouting locations.
Yeah, I think sometimes in the back is really the best place to put it, away from scouting SCVs. Like you said, State is going to be reinforcing his Stargate and his single gateway with 2 more gateways coming down here. Most likely going to open up with, well, let's see.
Looks like he's saving up for a Void Ray, and this could be a very, very quick Void Ray indeed. And State picks off one of the SCVs out on the map. I wonder if GoOdy will realize that he has that second SCV at the natural of State right now. He could use that to go in. There are no Stalkers blocking the ramp. There's nothing to prevent him from getting in there.
But he's going to see the trajectory of the Void Ray when it comes out.
Although it looks like it's rallied to one of the Stalkers, so that trajectory trajectory could change if those stalkers head over to the right or left of the map. But it looks like they might just stay there for now, and we could have an advanced warning for GoOdy about these Void Rays, and that would just be tremendous for him. But he does have that starport up, and it looks like once again he's going to open with a Viking.
Yeah. And we're looking right now at GoOdy's point of view vision as he's got a Hellion trying to run inside by the Stalker, misses that opportunity. Doesn't look like the Void Ray passed over the SCV. So right now, actually, GoOdy has no idea of the impending 3 Warp Gate Stargate push. This is a very aggressive timing attack by State. And really, thank God GoOdy has a bunker at the front. Like you said, bunkers are so good and so easy to get. The used bunker dealership is great for Terrans because you get to refund it and you get like 75% of your resources back anyways.
Yeah,
so it's a good idea.
It's definitely worth the investment almost always. And State starting to work on that supply depot immediately with that first Void Ray. And, gonna get warded off by that first Viking. I love the fact that GoOdy is reading this so well, getting that Viking for security. And we do have some Stalkers and Zealots coming in here, but State not really looking to commit just yet.
Yeah, GoOdy's defenses here are just perfect against holding the 3-gate Stargate attack. He got the absolute right units, the tanks, the bunker, and the Viking. And that's it. That's going to halt this attack. State's going to have to fall back. And now, does GoOdy have another command center coming up? Yes, he does. So he's going to quickly establish that economic lead. I'm surprised that State's committing to more Void Rays. He may try to just barrel this down in the next couple moments. I don't know. He's falling back right now, so very intriguing play.
Yeah, intriguing play, most definitely. Gonna go ahead and fall back and drop a Nexus.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, GoOdy taking his natural. Well, he does have the CC up in his main. He will work towards that natural, I believe, in a relatively safe manner. Going to go ahead and start creeping his way down. You need to be so careful at this stage in the game because Protoss players can just wait outside your natural and pounce as soon as you try and move down with those siege tanks. It's such a risky time, and it looks like GoOdy is still hesitant, doesn't want to just rush things and move down to the natural.
Yeah, you want to take things one step at a time here. Obviously, if you unsiege all your tanks and roll out, ready to roll out, and then you're going to go out there and you just get absolutely demolished by a bunch of Protoss units, and that's never fun. So GoOdy is going to lead out here with an SCV with a missile turret just to pick off maybe any random obs. He's coming out here with a solo tank, and he's slowly sieging his way down there, and the timing is perfect here to lift off the command center and land it down where it's protected in the range of the tanks.
Yep, and back at State's base, he is just now getting his robo and not sure what exactly he's going with this game. It looks like he is massing up a little bit of a Void Ray fleet once again. He is continuing to get quite a few gateway units, but if we go back to the income tab, he's actually down by 4 probes right now. Hasn't been utilizing his chrono boost that well, hasn't been macroing that well. He should be decently ahead at this point, and this does not bode well for him going into the mid and the late game. I'm actually very surprised to see that he is not ahead on probe count. He must have sacrificed quite a few for that early game push that really accomplished nothing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we saw him chrono boosting Void Rays out even after he decided, hey, this push isn't going to work, and he continued to make Void Rays, which could have been more probes. Now, you wonder, is this the wisest option for State? Because we were talking about this map Crossfire. It looks like the missile turret may have picked off an obs there, by the way. We're talking about this map Crossfire. GoOdy here is going to have all these tanks, and once he starts to roll out and slow push across this type of terrain, by the way, guys, for you guys who may not be playing StarCraft 2 that much, this terrain is a tank heaven. And, once he starts to do that, what is State going to do? He's going to be in so much trouble.
I totally agree with you. GoOdy just sitting back, maxing out on this tank count here. He's getting up in the high numbers now, just now adding those Blue Flame Hellions as well. He has 6 tanks out on the field, still up on SCV count, doing a great job keeping up on his macro. He is up 44 to 43 and just adding quite a few supply depots right now as well. And that Viking does spot the Observer because of the missile turret. Does he have enough energy at his natural for a scan? Yes, he does. He is going to take out that Observer. Yeah. Observer going down, and State just continuing to add Immortals and Void Rays, and it looks like that is his answer for Mech. He likes to use this Immortal Void Ray style.
Yeah, I mean, it worked in the last game fairly well. The thing here is, though, in this game, rather than the last he was pretty good with his obs, never really lost any, I think, except for one. This game so far, I believe he's lost 2 already, and he's trying to get a Phoenix in here to do additional scouting. I'm not exactly sure why. I think he has a pretty good read on what the Terran is doing at this point. I think State's best option here is to make a push, not necessarily against the Terran's natural, but not allow the Terran to grab a third. To control the map right now before those tanks start to slow push out, and of course secure the third expansion in the back and get that income really rolling, because he's got that probe disadvantage, which he's now actually turned into a 1 probe advantage.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. He needs to control the bottom Zelnaga tower, not aggressively. Like, if he's forced to give it up, he needs to give it up.
Yeah.
But he needs to control that territory, and it looks like that territory is getting taken back right now. Palm trees getting lit on
collateral.
fire as we say that, and he does hold on to that bottom Zelnaga now. So GoOdy definitely going to feel a little bit safer to get his expansion going. GoOdy also has a drop in the bottom right-hand corner. There is a Void Ray, however, outside the natural of State that looks like it's ready to intercept any kind of drop play that might be coming in on the right side of the map, and it looks like this is headed directly for that Void Ray, just passing the Phoenix. The Phoenix not going to be able to spot that, and we do have a Thor coming up to take charge of the Zelnaga tower, and it looks like that Stalker is just... Oh, I thought he was actually going to commit there, and wow, this drop...
Pain. This drop could get intercepted by the Void Ray. State sees the dropship, but he doesn't attack it. I wonder, did he see it on his minimap?
No, he must have missed it because he's not reacting at all.
Yeah, GoOdy here is going to get those 4 Hellions in. Does he have any cannons in the back? No, he does not, but he has pretty good placement of buildings. Should he be able to save his probes right now? That would be really good. He ends up committing a couple of them to take out some Hellions or block them off to save the rest of the probes, and he loses a good chunk of them, about 6 or 7. I don't know. I think that drop may have been a fair trade for both players.
Oh, absolutely. No. Definitely a fair trade for GoOdy. He's now ahead 56 to 48 harvesters. He can totally afford to throw away a few Hellions here, especially if they do that kind of damage. So impressive nonetheless. He just snuck them in there through the back, completely avoided all detection. Just a sneaky play from him. We do have high-sec auto turrets coming out of him. He does not know exactly how many Void Rays are out on the field, but I think he's assuming that something similar to last game is what's going down here, and he is adding turrets all over the map right now. I love this play from him, continuing to add turrets as he moves towards the Zelnaga tower, and we have both players positioning in mid right now near the Zelnaga towers for some kind of a fight here. I don't think State wants to engage right now, though. It seems like GoOdy has the superior army.
Yeah, looks like we're seeing France versus Germany again. This is the Alsace-Lorraine, as the Protoss forces are gearing up on the north side. We have GoOdy gearing up on the south side, and he's got so many tanks. By the way, Taylor, that is high-sec auto tracking, not turrets. Dustin Browder will come and kill you if you say it wrong. GoOdy here.
Fine with me. I'll take it either way.
Dustin Browder coming in your house is always a pleasure. So we have Hellions coming up here to the top left. Once again, going to try to do some damage, but a cannon at the front line should be able to do some damage here.
Way.
No, the Hellions get by the cannons, will be able to take out some probes. The Stalker's quickly blinking in. Hellions only able to kill about 5 or 6 probes, once again doing some decent damage there. And State has got a large Void Ray fleet and those Immortals.
Well, he just continues to whittle down that probe count. He's not allowing him to take any
Oh
kind
my
of a
God!
macro lead.
Pain user.
I
Do you
see
see it? Do
There
you
is
see
a
it?
mothership on the way, coming out of the natural. And you know, a mothership could actually work wonders against this mech composition. If he can catch all of those mech units in transition, he might be able to just get off one of those clutch vortexes. He can also use the mothership to recall units perhaps into the main. And I actually don't think this is a bad response at all. I mean, in Brood War, one of the most common responses to mech is obviously arbiters.
Yeah.
And, you know, the mothership, albeit slow, fat, expensive, And doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. Does have some similar abilities to that of the Arbiter, so he might be able to utilize the mothership, get a nice vortex off, or perhaps recall into the main and just do a ton of damage to the production line, both of which would be great against this mech composition.
Yeah, because of course that mothership allows the Protoss mobility when you're talking about the recall. It forces all these tanks that are sieged up in the center of the map to quickly fall back if that's what we indeed see. So yeah, the mothership could be a good unit. It's really kind of a make or break thing. You know, it's so expensive and so costly. It eats up into your max supply cap. State is going to have to execute his vortex and his whatever abilities he decides to use perfectly, and he's going to have to be very careful with that very expensive unit. They don't come with warranties, unfortunately. They're not like a bunker. So here comes the mothership. It has arrived. I always love it when it comes out, man. It gives that awesome shong sound. Yeah.
No money Mac guarantee on the motherships. No money Mac guarantee on anything from the Protoss world. That's because everything from the Protoss world is so damn expensive. All of their units are so pricey.
Did you know when they warp and stuff, they actually bring them from Ire?
Oh, I'm knowing
They don't
it.
actually construct them.
And when they die, they go right back.
Yeah, they become a Dragoon or an Immortal.
This is true.
Yeah. All right. Well, the mothership here looks like it may be gearing up for what seems to be a mass recall here. Pain user, I wonder, is this the strategy to beat a Terran who is sieging up on a map like Crossfire? Forget trying to push the tanks on the high ground. Forget the Optimus Prime. I'm going to bypass everything, go straight into the home world, and really, there's a sensor tower, but it's all the way on the right side. GoOdy here is not going to be prepared for this mothership. It's coming in. It's sneaking in. It's fat. It's slow, but it is about to bring the pain.
Well, this could actually backfire for State quite a bit here. He is going to recall all of these units into the main, but keep in mind, once he does that, his entire army is going to be isolated in the main, and in Brood War, you're warping in Zealots and Dragoons. You have tons of gateways. These are expendable units for you. These units are not expendable. He has tons of Immortals and tons of Void Rays, and if this army gets taken out, I don't see him recovering from this.
All right, guys, this is just a big drop right here in the main. The mothership could potentially go down. It goes down to the combined Viking fire. Now it's just Stalkers, Immortals, and Colossus versus the massive mech army of GoOdy. GoOdy has sieged up on the low ground as well. Stayed here maybe in a bad position. He's losing all of his Void Rays. Has lost every single one.
So many units going down for State right now, although those Immortals having a little bit more longevity than the rest of the army, but goodness gracious, losing his entire army right there, and just terrible positioning for State right there. He got all of his units jumbled up behind those two factories, didn't get a good surface area whatsoever, and this goes back to what I said. He was warping in those super expensive, high-cost units.
Oh my god.
It doesn't matter.
Carrier?
Doesn't matter.
But I wonder
GoOdy
why.
has so many Vikings out right now.
I wonder why would he make carriers once he saw
Carriers,
the
carriers
Vikings,
are
though?
actually
that's
quite good if you can get enough of them and
Yeah.
transition into a heavy carrier composition towards the late game. They're just so expensive and they build so slowly. And if your opponent already has that many Vikings, I couldn't agree with you more. Carriers are not going to be a good response. If you can sneak the carrier switch and actually build up a pretty good mass of carriers, then your opponent can be in a little bit of trouble.
Well, what surprised me was he kind of just floated a single carrier out there when I think, if you're going to sneak the carrier tech switch, you need to hide them in the back. But regardless now, GoOdy basically has a free pass to attack the Protoss wherever he pleases. State can't make anything right now except for his Warp Gate units. He's going to counter this Hellion drop, but after losing several probes, everything is getting attacked right now. GoOdy actually grabbing a command center where State was thinking about grabbing his 5th expansion, soon to be his 4th because he's going to lose his actual 4th. GoOdy, Pain User, is just all over the map now. That drop, like you said, just an absolute backfire. Here I was getting all excited, and then it just ended up being a terrible, absolutely terrible drop.
It's what I thought was going to happen. The recall ended up backfiring, and it's because he was warping into the main where, obviously GoOdy had an established position on the midfield, but he was able to relocate all of those tanks. He took a pretty advantageous position on the low ground outside of his natural and just patiently engaged, whereas, State had horrible positioning going into that fight. All of his units were bunched up together, getting hit by the tank volleys left and right, took out that mothership right off the bat, and that just spelled disaster for him. And now GoOdy, setting up this beautiful offensive position, has migrated his slow push from the bottom Xel'Naga now to the top Xel'Naga, and just continues to cut the map shorter, one portion at a time, just constricting on his opponent, and just continues to do so, not really committing to anything here. He just knows that the territory he holds is so important, and if he continues to hold it, he will win the game.
Yeah. The high ground.
That's what it's going to come down to, is if he can continue to hold this northern Xel'Naga tower right here.
Yeah, this high ground right here where he cuts off most of the minerals of the map and provides him all the resources south of this longitudinal line. Or is it latitude? Is it longitude or latitude? I always get confused. It's one or the other. He controls everything south of this little horizontal line we have here, and basically he gets all the resources. But here we are, State pushing in. He actually has a lot of Templars morphed into Archons now, warping in. Oh, he gets an offensive blink in there and storms a lot of the ground forces. The Vikings here, oh my god, State doing some pretty good damage with this push. What the heck? He actually was able to crush that high ground advantage that GoOdy had.
Yeah, he just absolutely decimated that push, but the one thing he does not have going for him is that GoOdy is on 6 base right now. I repeat, 6 base, and he is going mech, so that is a huge problem for State. GoOdy's actually going to be able to reinforce his mech at a rate that I don't think that State can keep up with. State just losing his gold expansion right there. That was one of his primary expansions. He doesn't have one of these outside outskirt expansions, and GoOdy also taking that other expansion at the 9 o'clock position and continuing to harass the gold. So State really has to make or break right now, and look at those reinforcements already. How many factories do we have GoOdy working off right now? I think he has some more maybe in the bottom right, or is that just scattered supply depots? Yeah. All right, so GoOdy working off of a ton of factories right now, just able to produce so many tanks. We got 5 tanks and a Thor being produced each round.
Yeah,
and that is just such impressive production. It's going to be so difficult for State to deal with.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Pain User. He's just making so many tanks right now. State really is in so much trouble. He's coming out with some Stalkers, some Archons, a single Immortal. He has a pretty big army right now, but hey, let's look over at the Terran's army, and he is almost near maxed. So many tanks, man. This is a tank orgy here.
Yeah, I mean... yeah, that's how good he rolls. I mean, that's why they call him the Panzer General. He loves his siege tanks, and he's very good at positioning them. He's also very good at harassing simultaneously. He does a lot of damage with the Blue Flame Hellions, and he's able to continue to maximize that tank army, continue to build up those numbers. And wow, look at State's army right now. He has a huge gateway ball, and it's going to be up to GoOdy to try and push out on the map and accomplish something here. State, managing to stay alive in this game. Every time I think he's down and out, he pulls it back together. He had a huge victory at his Xel'Naga tower, and it looks like GoOdy is going to move out here. He has unsieged all of his tanks, and they are marching out in formation, sieging up everything right now. It looks like State's going to try and make his move, and he is right on top of the siege tanks.
Pain User, State is just taking so much damage from those siege tanks. That is a line of over 20 tanks, I believe. And I mean, just double clicking all these, there was all these white lines showing the tank's area to fire. That was, I mean, just walking any unit in there is just a dead man's wish. State here trying to get in here with his Templars first to get a storm off. His only hope is to storm these tanks while they're sieged up. He needs to land his storms perfectly, but even that is a shot in the dark. He's going to be able to get a couple storms here, walk in here from both angles, trying to take out all these tanks, but the Thor's in the front just holding the line. Hold the line.
Holy
and GoOdy. Yes.
Oh my goodness. The Thors and hold the line. The Thors and the tanks able to just clean up absolutely everything. Even the Immortals looking like paper mache Immortals, if
they look
you
like phoenixes on the ground.
I mean, wow. Just wow. Yeah. Unbelievable. The upgraded mech Let's check the upgrades on that mech.
Just
He's
1-1.
Only 1-1, so it was just purely the siege
Brunt
tank
firepower.
count right there.
Yeah.
Once you get above 15 siege tanks, anything on the ground just absolutely melts. And that was a perfect example of everything on the ground absolutely melting. His entire army just evaporated.
All right, guys.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Not much to be
Insanity.
said other than the fact that tanks are amazing, Goody's awesome, and keep on rocking it, Goody. Keep on making those tanks.
Yeah.
I
Make
love
it happen.
watching those late game battles.
I want to see more Terrans make this happen with tanks against Protoss. Bring back the Brood War style, man. Make it happen. No more Bio. Bio's for Zerg. Well, actually, Mech is for Zerg now in StarCraft 2. Yeah.
Well, in a way, it's
Yeah.
more of a combination of Bio and Mech. You got to use the Marines as your
Well, I
battle.
mean, wouldn't you love to see Bio for Zerg and Mech for Protoss like in the days of Brood War?
I would love to see a lot of things out of StarCraft 3 too. But sadly,
It's still-
I usually get disappointed.
It's still an early game, though. Blizzard has much time to make this game. With, 2 more expansions coming out. This game is definitely going to evolve. But anyways, guys, with all that aside, we have our winner. State has GG'd, and Goody has won in the round of 32. That means State drops down to the losers bracket.
So if you guys enjoyed those games and our IPL content, be sure and check out www.ign.com/IPL. Also, you can find our social media links in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And if you guys want the hot links for those, be sure and check out Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and justintv.com/IGN Pro League. Also, make sure and follow. And if you enjoyed those casts as much as we did, please check us out. You can find me at twitter.com/painuser and youtube.com/strapdog.
You can't really follow me on Twitter because I don't have a Twitter account, but I have a YouTube account. You guys can subscribe to me there at youtube.com/HDStarcraft. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is HD and Pain User, both signing up from the IPL.